Apple, Google, Meta. You'd think that all the AI news would be sending these companies on an upward spiral that's never going to stop. Wrong. We're witnessing something unprecedented in the tech world. The giants that once seemed invincible are now looking, well, pretty vincible. And guess what? The 2024 presidential election might just be the wild card that decides whether big tech crumbles or rises from the ashes. The illusion of invincibility. Remember when we thought tech companies could do no wrong? Those days are over. Despite the AI hype dominating headlines, the reality is far less rosy. Companies like Google's DeepMind are burning through cash at an alarming rate, with returns yet to materialize. The market correction has investors scrutinizing tech stocks more closely, and the growth at all costs mentality is giving way to a focus on profitability. Ironically, the very size and influence that propelled these companies to greatness are now becoming their greatest weaknesses. Regulators are circling, competitors are crying foul, and suddenly, being the biggest player isn't as advantageous as it once was. Power and its consequences. Big tech's dominance has turned them into the digital landlords of our online lives. However, this power comes at a price. Regulators are sharpening their knives, talking about breaking up these behemoths. Smaller companies are accusing the giants of stifling innovation, a far cry from the days when startups dreamed of being acquired by big tech. Take Facebook's response to TikTok's popularity, for instance. The swift launch of Reels demonstrates how these giants can quickly replicate features to maintain their market position. This power to shape the digital landscape raises important questions about competition and innovation in the tech sector. The double-edged sword of technology. Artificial intelligence represents both the biggest hope and the biggest challenge for big tech. While it could be the next big revenue stream, it's also a massive investment with no guaranteed payoff. The ethical implications of AI development are equally daunting. As AI systems become more advanced, questions of responsibility, bias, and decision-making become increasingly complex. Consider the ethical dilemmas posed by AI-powered self-driving cars. Who bears responsibility when an AI system makes a potentially life-altering decision? These aren't just philosophical debates anymore. They're boardroom discussions with billion-dollar implications. The regulatory reckoning. Antitrust concerns? They're not just concerns anymore. They're full-blown investigations. Data privacy? It's not just a European thing now, it's gone global. Content moderation? It's become a political hot potato that no one wants to hold, but everyone's forced to juggle. Let's break it down bit by bit. 1. Antitrust. Regulators are asking, is big really too big? It's like watching Godzilla stomp through Tokyo, but instead of buildings, it's market competition getting crushed. 2. Data privacy. Remember when you could post an embarrassing photo online and only your friends would see it? Yeah, those days are long gone. Now your data's being passed around like a hot gossip at a high school reunion. 3. Content moderation. Big tech's caught between a rock and a hard place. Moderate too much, and they're accused of censorship. Too little, and they're blamed for the spread of misinformation. It's a lose-lose situation that's giving PR teams ulcers. Different countries are taking different approaches to regulation. It's like a global game of regulatory whack-a-mole. The EU's been leading the charge with GDPR and the Digital Markets Act. They're not messing around. Meanwhile, in the US, it's been more of a patchwork approach. Some states, like California, are going full steam ahead with privacy laws. Others are just figuring it out. And let's not forget about China. They've taken a, shall we say, unique approach to tech regulation. It's less, let's have a conversation about this, and more, do what we say or else. Economic ripple effects. Zooming out to the bigger economic picture reveals a challenging landscape for big tech. Inflation is soaring, interest rates are climbing, and consumers are tightening their belts. The once sky-high valuations of tech companies are plummeting back to earth, exemplified by Meta's staggering loss of over $700 billion in market value in just over a year, equivalent to losing the entire GDP of Switzerland. It's not just stock prices. As companies tighten budgets, often the first casualties are the innovative tech solutions that seemed indispensable just months ago. The job market in tech, once characterized by lavish perks and job security, now faces waves of layoffs. This shift represents more than cost-cutting. It signifies a fundamental change in how these companies operate and how they're perceived in the job market. The 2024 election, Harris versus Trump, a tech showdown. The upcoming 2024 US presidential election looms as a potential watershed moment for big tech. The face-off between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump represents a clash of vastly different approaches to tech policy. Harris, known for her tough stance on big tech during her tenure as California's Attorney General, may push for stronger antitrust enforcement if elected. She's also a proponent of net neutrality and expanding broadband access, aiming to democratize digital participation. Data privacy is likely to be high on her agenda, meaning more stringent protections for consumers. Trump, on the other hand, has a complex relationship with social media platforms. His return to the White House could see renewed efforts to reform Section 230, which provides liability protections for online platforms. Although he had a hands-off approach to business regulation, Trump has shown willingness to intervene in tech matters, particularly concerning free speech on platforms. The future of big tech in a Harris versus Trump world. The illusion of invincibility has been shattered, and these companies now face unprecedented scrutiny. Their immense power comes at a price, with regulators and competitors alike challenging their dominance. Will increased regulation under a Harris administration lead to the collapse of big tech? Will a second Trump term create an environment of unpredictable challenges? The next chapter is about to be written, and we're all part of the story.